watching Spence Crawford, right? And I love, and we, you know, those are just guys that come to the neighborhood as well, man. When you saw that fight, what did you think that it was going to be that easy for Crawford, or
the one-sided fight
as a boxer?
Nah, I didn't know that. Man. I didn't think that. You know, it give you a whole nother look on Crawford.
Yeah, man. Did you ever want to jump in and help him out, or you?
Kind of.
Yeah,
nah,
man.
For real though.
No,
for real, you like, man, I could do that. Man, I could beat him. I could beat this guy. You know, like, in your mindset, you want to go get it.
And I told Jose, because we were sitting next to each other, man, and we had great seats, man. Somebody upgraded us, man. I was like, bro, I wish they would have let me in with my pistol, because I could have just threw that up to him. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I wish. But no, all jokes aside, man. But that right there, bro, it's like we get into an era too, man, where boxers boxed back in the days, and sometimes you took L's. I love the L's and things of that nature. How do you feel about everybody want to protect the O?
Man, you know, that's the crazy thing about me. I ain't got the O no more.
Right.
I had a draw, and I had a loss to Tony Harrison. And
But yours came early, though.
Well, but I still came back and knocked both of them. The ones I had a draw with and the one that I lost to. But, you know, everybody, because everybody trying to be Mayweather. Everybody trying to, like, follow, like, thinking that they're going to become the $100 million guy because of the fact that but the era has changed. Boxing is different. Yeah. You know, Mayweather went through it. He went through it, but it's one of a kind.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And I'm saying, like, man, don't let that be the new blueprint. Yeah. When people say, oh, man, like, he done lost 2 fights, I'm like, man, what?
Yeah. You're supposed to be able to, you know, it ain't about how many
It's the comeback.
Yeah, it's about the comeback.
Hell yeah, it's the comeback, man. Yep. It's the comeback.
We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live, Boxingego unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Lines only, yeah. Jermell Charlo finally admits that he wanted to jump in and help Errol Spence in the Terence Crawford fight. Like, man, I could beat this dude. Jermell also goes on to say that there's a lot of fighters who are trying to be like Floyd Mayweather and protect their O. That's what we're going to talk about in this Unpack. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I am back with some more boxing. Now, you guys heard the clip at the beginning. Big Boy's Neighborhood, which is a popular LA radio station with the host Big Boy, of course, and Jermell Charlo was a special guest. You guys heard he was promoting his upcoming fight with Canelo Alvarez. Payday, you'll want payday. And I'm looking forward to it. I got a ton of content coming forward. September is going to be a busy month. It is at the end of the month, but we're going to be gearing up to that. So make sure you guys subscribe to the channel so you do not miss a thing. If you're getting to learn boxing or you're an avid boxing fan, do yourself a favor, hit the subscribe button, and let's get it cracking. I put out content every day. We working. So Jermell Charlo's special guest on Big Boy, and they were kind of joking, but they said, hey, what did you think in the Errol Spence? And I'm going to paraphrase it because you guys heard it at the beginning. What did you think of the Errol Spence fight with Terence Crawford? Did you think it was going to be that easy for Terence Crawford, or at least what appeared to look easy from the outside looking in? Not saying that Terence Crawford didn't train his butt off and do the proper things in training camp to achieve those results, but from the outside looking in, it looked like a non-competitive fight. And Jermell Charlo said he didn't expect it to be like that. And then they had a follow-up question. They said, did you want to do something like jump in the ring? And then Big Boy even said, I wish I had my pistol. I wanted to hand him that pistol. So that goes to show you that whatever condition that Errol Spence jumped in the ring with Terence Crawford with, that outside perspective is, you know, it really didn't go his way. And I made videos about this. You guys can say whatever you want. I really think that Errol Spence did himself a disservice in the negotiating with Terence Crawford because he gave up so much leverage. You can't be so desperate to have anything that you give up the leverage that you have. For example, this is not even just exclusive to boxing. It could be a woman. Let's say there's a girl that you work with, a coworker, and you have a crush on her and you really want to date her. You can't allow her to walk all over you. You can't give up too much because you're so desperate to have her date you or go on a date with you. What do I mean? So, for example, if you invite her to the movies, say, hey, you want to see the new Batman movie? And she says, no, I'm going with someone else, another one of your coworkers. And then you have to just accept that loss. And then something happens where that date falls apart. And then now she wants to go on a date with you. I mean, you can't be good with that. You can't be so desperate that you want to appease her or please her or date her that you're going to allow her to pretty much reject you and then use you as a consolation prize. I don't believe in that, you know? And similarly, Errol Spence, he allowed his A-side leverage to go out the window. And this is what he had earned through popularity, putting butts in seats, ticket sales. And he talked about it. He said, I'm the big dog, man down stretch season, yada, yada, yada. I'm the big fish, the biggest. And then he did all that and then allowed Terence Crawford to kind of hustle him and finesse him in terms of he was in the driver's seat and he allowed Crawford to drive the car to a degree. And I don't think that was a good look. So I think the long layoff, I mean, you guys can say whatever you want. Some people are like, oh, you're making excuses. I'm just telling you my opinion. It is what it is. The fight happened, but I'm still entitled to my opinion. And that's always going to be the case on my channel. If you don't like it, then I don't know what to tell you. You can unsubscribe. But I truly think that Errol Spence, there were some other factors outside of just Terence Crawford putting on a tour de force performance, because he looked just like they're saying. I mean, they're making jokes on the radio station with Jermell Charlo, who's his boy and his homie. And they're like, oh man, I wanted to hand Errol my pistol. And I've seen people make like memes and videos and stuff after the Spence Crawford fight with a very similar premise about like, hey, Errol, you know, let me help you out and stuff like that. But it is what it is. Jermell Charlo admits that that was tough to watch, or he had a hard time seeing it, and he wanted to step in because he truly believes that he can beat Terence Crawford. Now, me personally, seeing is believing, especially in the sport of boxing. I'm not convinced that Jermell Charlo or Canelo or the winner fights Terence Crawford anytime soon. Terence Crawford has a 2-fight deal. As of me recording this video, I don't know if Errol Spence is going to trigger the rematch or not. But even if he doesn't, what is Crawford going to do? September 30th is about a month away. He's going to wait, and then see what the outcome is. And I've already explained this. If Jermell Charlo wins, guarantee you Canelo has a rematch clause and an option. So why would Canelo not exercise the rematch clause? If Jermell Charlo loses, I mean, really, who needs to see Terence Crawford versus a guy coming off of a loss? So if Canelo beats Jermell Charlo and then Crawford says he wants to fight at 168, then that's a possibility. I don't know if there's a bilateral rematch clause in terms of Jermell Charlo. So there's a lot of moving pieces and a lot of question mark boxes and answers we don't have as of me recording the video. No one has the answers because the fight hasn't happened. You don't know. We haven't even made it to the fight. Like Anthony Joshua and Dillian White were supposed to fight about a week before it. Somebody failed a drug test. So, you know, in boxing, it ain't over till it's over. In a fight, I've seen guys win whole fights like Mickey Bay and then lose in the last round or whatever versus John Molina Jr. I've seen fights that everything was signed, sealed, and delivered, and then there's some unfortunate or tragic news where the fight didn't happen. So for me, I know Charlo saying he wants to fight against Crawford. Crawford is saying the same thing, but I got to see it. I got to see it play out like that. And as far as Crawford versus Canelo, I'm going to keep saying the same thing. I think it's unfair for the David Morrells and David Benavidez and Demetrius Andrade, guys who are campaigning at super middleweight. Canelo's hogging up all the belts, holding the belts hostage, and he's fighting guys underweight. Why do I want to keep seeing Canelo? I understand that they're named people, Terence Crawford, Jermell Charlo, but why would I want to see an undisputed super middleweight champion back-to-back keep challenging guys that have to move up 2 and 3 weight classes when there's people right in his division like Demetrius Andrade, Morrell, and Benavidez, a tale of two Davids, it just doesn't make sense for me. But ultimately, I'm about to roll with the punches and see what happens, in September 30th fight. Jermell Charlo seems very confident. You can see his face. He's bulking up. You can see his body type. He's adding on muscle. He also talked about it in the Big Boy interview. He says, I can't eat bad, like mad greasy foods, but, you know, I'm bulking up, so I have a little bit more freedom in terms of my diet, but, you know, I still got to be disciplined. He also said he has a 12-week camp. And I do like that Jermell Charlo talked about it's okay to lose in boxing. I think the UFC, some of the dudes have like 10, 11, 12 losses, and the UFC fans still like them. But in boxing, people act like it's taboo to lose. And if you lose, then, you know, people write you off and say retire and all kinds of crazy. Errol Spence has one loss and people told him to retire. You know, some people were saying, and people pretending to be doctors and all types of stuff. So I'm glad that Jermell Charlo spoke up on that front. And he said, I don't like people attributing it to Mayweather because I think that's just too easy of a scapegoat. I don't think it's Mayweather is the sole reason people are trying to protect their O. I think people don't want to get knocked out and embarrassed. And O has just always been flashy and classier. I mean, who wouldn't want to O? Like who wants to lose? Who wants to get knocked out and beat up in a fight? So I don't think it's Mayweather specifically. Yeah, Floyd did things his way and he was undefeated and he retired undefeated, but so did Joe Calzaghe and Andre Ward, you know what I'm saying? And Rocky Marciano. So I think Floyd was just popping so people attribute that to him, but he brought so many other elements to the game, like Olympic style drug testing or fighters getting paid their worth and getting out of situations. So I don't like people reducing Floyd to he made fighters protect their O's or people want to do that because of Floyd. I mean, what about the business sense and the pay-per-view? I mean, May-per-view that he came up with and all these types of things, putting on the biggest events, how to do a 24/7 type of show and all access, coming up with that. You know what I mean? So I don't like that. But I do agree that at the end of the day, fighters should be respected and one loss shouldn't define you. It's about the comeback. And finally, I like Jermell Charlo, this whole buildup. Some people expected this irate Charlo and him to cuss out Canelo and stuff like that. I didn't really have those expectations. He's a grown man. He respects Canelo as a fighter, but he knows what he's up against and he got to try to beat him. There was really no I don't understand why people assumed that Jermell Charlo and Canelo were going to have so much beef. I don't know, one black fighter or one Mexican, you just thought it was going to be like funk. But there was no reason, if you think about it, there's really no reason for them to act silly and slap each other and do all this extra stuff. There was no inherent beef. There's pictures with Jermell Charlo and Jermell Charlo taking a picture with Canelo Alvarez. So I think they've always respected him and he's always respected them. That's why he avoided them in other situations. And I just like Jermell Charlo, the way he's speaking publicly. He's doing a great job of promoting himself and he's showing a level of maturity in his recent interviews. Let me know what you guys think. Jermell Charlo speaks on Errol Spence losing and, you know, possibly fighting Crawford. Also fighters trying to preserve that O. We unpack.